Most people think moments like this are just part of getting older. A little clumsiness, a touch of morning grogginess. But what if I told you that the very first hours of your morning could quietly set the stage for something far more dangerous? Here's the truth. After the age of 60, certain morning habits can quietly triple your risk of a stroke. And the scariest part? They're often the exact same habits we think of as harmless or even healthy. Think about your mornings. Do you wake up and reach straight for your coffee? Sit on the edge of the bed scrolling through the news? Or skip breakfast because you're not hungry? These everyday choices might feel small, but for millions of older adults, they're silently turning each morning into the most dangerous time of day. In this video, we'll uncover the 5 common morning habits that quietly raise your stroke risk, and more importantly, the simple changes you can make to protect your brain and your life. You don't need to overhaul your lifestyle, but if you're over 60, the way you start your day could mean the difference between living stronger or facing a sudden, devastating event. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear morning checklist that not only lowers your stroke risk, but also gives you the energy and confidence to enjoy the years ahead.
Let me tell you about Mary. She's 68, a retired school teacher from Texas. Mary loves her slow mornings, 2 cups of coffee, the daily news on her tablet, and sometimes she skips breakfast because she says, "I'm just not hungry yet." It sounds harmless, right? The kind of morning routine many of us enjoy. But one particular morning changed everything. Her family thought she was just tired. Mary herself brushed it off. "Maybe I need more sleep." But what she didn't realize was that these tiny, almost invisible moments were actually her brain sending out distress signals. Doctors call it a TIA, or transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke. The warning signs can be subtle: a sudden clumsiness in the hands, trouble finding words, or a brief lapse in memory. They often last only a few minutes, then disappear. But here's the danger. These episodes are like a flashing red light on the dashboard of your brain. Ignore them, and the risk of a major stroke in the coming days skyrockets. Fortunately for Mary, she went to the hospital later that week after her daughter insisted. Tests confirmed a TIA, and because she caught it in time, doctors were able to adjust her treatment and help her avoid a devastating stroke. Mary was lucky, but too many people miss these early whispers from the brain because they happen so quickly or seem too small to matter. And this is why mornings are so important. The body is under the most stress right after waking up, and the choices we make in those first hours can either protect us or quietly push us closer to danger. In just a moment, we'll explore exactly why the morning hours are such a high-risk window and how to spot the hidden habits that could be raising your stroke risk without you even knowing.
Now, you might be wondering, why do these warning signs, these strokes and mini-strokes, so often happen in the morning? The answer lies in what your body goes through while you sleep and what happens the moment you wake up. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is slightly dehydrated. You haven't had any water, yet your heart has been pumping all night long. That means your blood is thicker, stickier, harder to move through narrowed arteries. Then, as soon as you wake up, your stress hormone, cortisol, spikes. It's part of your body's natural alarm clock, preparing you to face the day. But with cortisol comes a sharp rise in blood pressure. For someone with healthy arteries, that's manageable. But for older adults, where arteries may already be stiff or narrowed, it's like adding pressure to an old garden hose. The walls strain, the flow struggles, and the risk of a blockage or rupture climbs. This is why doctors call the early morning hours the danger zone. Studies show that strokes and heart attacks are more likely to strike between 6 a.m. and noon than any other time of day. But here's the good news. You don't need to fear your mornings. By making a few small adjustments, you can turn this so-called danger zone into a time of healing and strength. And it all begins with recognizing the habits that quietly make your mornings riskier. Up next, we'll uncover the 5 most common morning mistakes that raise your stroke risk and how simple changes can keep your brain sharp and your heart safe. Now let's talk about the 5 most common morning mistakes that quietly raise stroke risk. These are things many of us do every single day without realizing the cost. And as you'll see, fixing them is not about perfection. It's about small shifts that can make the difference between a dangerous morning and a safe, healthy one. Habit number 1, skipping water. The first mistake is starting the day with coffee instead of water. Think about it. You've just gone 7 or 8 hours without a sip of fluid. Your blood is thicker. Your brain is thirsty. And then, instead of rehydrating, most people pour a cup of caffeine, which actually dehydrates you even more. A European study found that nearly half of first-time strokes in older adults were linked to dehydration. Imagine that. Something as simple as not drinking water nearly doubled the risk. The fix? 1 full glass of room temperature water before anything else, before pills, before news, before coffee. Think of it as giving your brain a morning rinse. Habit number 2, staying still too long in bed. The second mistake is staying too still after waking up. Many people sit in bed, scrolling the phone or just staring out the window. It feels harmless, but after a night of lying flat, blood has pooled in your legs. If you stay motionless, that blood doesn't return to the heart and brain efficiently. And if a clot has formed overnight, those first movements can send it upward with dangerous force. Instead, wake up gently but move early. Do a few ankle rolls while still lying down. Flex your toes. When you sit up, circle your shoulders, stretch your arms, and stand slowly. Just 2 minutes of gentle motion helps your blood circulate safely, preparing your body for the day. Habit number 3, skipping breakfast. Now, fasting may be trendy, and it can have benefits in younger, healthier bodies. But after 60, skipping food, especially when taking morning medication, can become risky. Why? Because your brain runs on glucose. It doesn't store much. Without fuel, your blood sugar dips, making you dizzy, foggy, and more vulnerable to vascular events. In fact, many stroke cases in older adults are linked to this exact combination: no breakfast, medication, and stress. The safer option isn't a heavy meal. It's something light but stabilizing. A boiled egg, a spoon of yogurt, a handful of soaked nuts. Small, simple, steady fuel for your brain. Habit number 4, diving into stress too quickly. Your cortisol is already at its natural peak in the morning. That means your blood pressure is rising even before you get out of bed. Add the stress of bad news, emails, or arguments, and you amplify that pressure dramatically. One large study tracked over 90,000 people and found that high morning stress made older adults significantly more likely to suffer a stroke, especially in the first 3 hours of the day. That's why it's so important to create a buffer zone. Give yourself 10 calm minutes. Stretch, walk, breathe, or just sit with your tea in peace before opening the floodgates of information. It's not a luxury, it's neurological hygiene. Habit number 5, prolonged morning inactivity. And the 5th and final mistake is prolonged stillness. Many retirees wake up, sit down with coffee, read the paper, and stay put for an hour or more. It feels restful, but after 60, your blood doesn't flow upward as easily. Stillness allows pooling in the legs, and that stagnation increases the chance of clot formation. A major study in the journal Circulation showed that seniors who spent more than 9 hours a day sedentary had doubled the stroke risk even if they exercised later. Why? Because timing matters. The first hour after waking is the window. If you move early, you prime your circulation. If you stay still, your body thinks it's still at rest, and stroke risk rises. The solution doesn't require a treadmill, just 5 to 10 minutes of light mobility, marching in place, stretching overhead, or a short walk to the mailbox.
Small moves, big impact. These 5 morning mistakes are common, almost invisible, but they are not inevitable. And here's the powerful truth: each one is fixable. With a glass of water, a gentle stretch, a small breakfast, a calmer mind, and a few minutes of motion, you can cut your morning risk dramatically. Because when blood flows, the brain thrives. And when the brain thrives, you get more mornings to enjoy the life you love.
We've talked about the risks. We've seen the mistakes. Now, let's bring it all together. What does a safer, brain-healthy morning actually look like? You don't need a complicated checklist. You just need 5 simple steps, done in order in the first half hour of your day. Step 1, hydrate. The very first thing, before coffee, before your phone, drink a glass of room temperature water. Think of it as turning the faucet back on for your brain and heart. Step 2, wake up your circulation. While still in bed, flex your toes, roll your ankles, stretch your arms. Then, when you stand, add a couple of shoulder rolls or gentle marches in place. Just 2 minutes, and you've already told your blood to start flowing. Step 3, fuel your brain. Don't skip breakfast. It doesn't need to be big: a boiled egg, a spoon of yogurt, or a handful of walnuts. Small, steady fuel helps stabilize blood sugar and protects your brain from sudden drops. Step 4, protect your calm. Hold off on news, emails, or stressful conversations until you've given yourself at least 10 quiet minutes. Stretch, sip tea, breathe. Create a buffer between sleep and stress. And finally, step 5, move. Don't sink into the couch or the breakfast chair for an hour. Take a short walk, water your plants, or do light stretches. Even 5 minutes of gentle movement sets the tone for safer circulation all day. That's it. 5 small steps: water, movement, fuel, calm, and more movement. Together, they transform your mornings from the body's danger zone into a window of strength and protection. The science is clear. The earlier you care for your brain and circulation, the more mornings you'll have to enjoy the people and moments you love most.
By now, you might be wondering, is this really backed by science? The answer is yes, and the research is clear. According to the American Heart Association, strokes and heart attacks peak in the morning hours, between 6 a.m. and noon. Researchers link it to dehydration, blood pressure surges, and changes in circulation as the body shifts from sleep to wakefulness. Other studies from Harvard and Johns Hopkins have shown that something as simple as drinking a glass of water upon waking can thin the blood just enough to lower clotting risk. That's why hydration is the very first step of your new routine. And movement matters too. Research published in the journal Stroke found that older adults who performed gentle morning activity, like stretching or walking, had significantly better circulation and lower risk of early morning strokes. So these aren't just tips from thin air. They're grounded in decades of medical research. And the best part? You don't need prescriptions, fancy equipment, or a strict program. The science shows small, consistent actions in the morning can protect your brain, your heart, and your independence. And that brings us to the final step: how to take this knowledge and turn it into lasting change, so you not only add years to your life, but life to your years. Think back to this morning. Did you wake up with energy or with stiffness, fog, maybe even worry? For millions of older adults, mornings feel like the hardest part of the day. But today, you've learned something powerful. Mornings don't have to be dangerous. They can be your time of strength, renewal, and protection. Imagine waking up tomorrow and giving your body exactly what it needs: water to refresh your blood, movement to wake up your circulation, calm to steady your mind, nourishment to fuel your brain. With just 5 simple steps, you're rewriting the story of your mornings and protecting your future. Because this isn't only about preventing a stroke, it's about protecting every laugh with your grandchildren, every walk with a friend, every sunrise you still have waiting for you. Your mornings are precious, and so are you. So tonight, place a glass of water by your bedside. Tomorrow, take 2 minutes to stretch before you stand. Protect your mornings, and you protect your life. And if this message inspired you, share it with someone you love. You never know whose life you might save. Because every new morning is a gift, and it's yours to keep.